Hey everybody, so in this video here, I'm going to do kind of like an experiment. Basically what I'm trying to do is layer my project so that I show a whole bunch of things that I'm doing all at once. Essentially, I'm doing an experiment to see if I can build a wheel for my buddy for free using all free parts and spokes that are too long and all the same length. Okay, I know it's a bit of a mouthful, but sit back, relax, and let's see if I can do it. I'm constantly giving him a flow of wheels and, tires and tubes and all that to help him save money. And so, I'm doing something good for the cycling community, kind of like donating to charity, but I'm helping out an individual. He needs to get his stuff done, like his odd jobs and all that kind of stuff.
Don't kill me.
It's expensive to, even to ride a bike these days. So I help him out because I have the skills to do that, and that's just kind of the way it goes, right? People throw things out and I turn it into stuff that he can use. So I need to make a wheel for him. So what I did is I made a couple trades for stuff I'm not using to another young guy. He doesn't have very much money, so he's just trying to make, ends meet or whatever. I don't know people's situations, but I try to think of it as the worst case scenario so I can help them out, and, I feel good inside. So anyways, I made a bunch of trades with this guy, and he gave me this specialized 26er wheel. It's actually not 26er, 26 inch, just like a regular wheel for like rim brakes. And mostly I just wanted the hub, right? So you can see it here. It's an older Shimano hub, like 8 to 10 speed. And really they were seen as 8 to 9 speed, but whatever, you can fit a 10 speed on there, no problem. And it's kind of seized up a little bit here. And, the guy said it wasn't serviced, but, that's what I do. I take the stuff that nobody really wants and I make it usable again. What I'm going to do is I got to strip it down, and I'm not going to make you watch the whole thing, but I'm just going to give you, the lowdown. I'm basically going to strip it down. I start on the non-drive side, and, it's a little bit tough, and I'm starting to notice a little bit of salt coming out there, and we don't want to make my wife upset, so I'm going to do it outside here. Okay, and this is taking me a little bit because, it's kind of difficult to do. I guess the nipples are a little bit seized on from being used maybe in the winter or whatever, or maybe just being stored outside. This guy probably just picked them up out of the garbage, right? So whatever. It's going to take a little bit of time, but I'd rather use my time than use my money. And I would rather save my buddy money by using my time. So there you go. It's starting to come apart. Just use my nipple driver, start taking the nipples out. I'll take the spokes out. I'm not really going to use those. Maybe I can save them, maybe I can't. I don't know. I might just donate them to the bike co-op there at the university. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to use the nipples either. I think all that stuff is just going to go. Okay, so I've harvested the Shimano hub from that 26-inch wheel, and I've kind of had this giant rim. I've just been kind of waiting to use it for something good like this, and now the opportunity's arrived. I found the hub that I need, and I also have the spokes that I need, but I'm just going to do something different here, and I'm going to lace this wheel with spokes that are the exact same size. So really, with this hub and this rim, I would need spokes that are 290 and 292 millimeters for the drive side and the non-drive side respectively. What I have is 32 293 millimeter spokes. So I figured I'd take this opportunity and see if, I know I can sometimes, but to see if I can show you guys, prove to you that you can actually build a wheel with spokes that are too long and the exact same size. I guess on top of that, I'm actually going to just do it in my chair. So to this point here, the way I've built wheels is just standing up, in front of the camera and basically showing you the hardest way possible to do it. There's a bunch of other, I guess, people who will say that you should sit down or you should use those jigs, like that Wheel Fanatic Noble lacing jig there. And, you don't really need to. You can just sit here and do it in your easy chair. So here we go. I'm just showing you the hub there. I've I serviced it, but I didn't really record that, I don't think. I might have, but not for the needs of this video here. So there's my rim. It's it's a wide enough rim, and I figured this will be good for him in the winter to use on his Norco bike, which is like a flat bar or a hybrid type bike. So anyways, I'm always going to show you how to insert your key spoke here. So in the case of this hub, there is a label, like a logo, but it kind of goes all the way around it, like it's circumferential. What the fuck?
Circumferential.
Basically, the logo goes around the circumference of the hub, so it doesn't really matter where you place your, where you align the hub on the rim using the key spoke. So I'm just going to put my key spoke in, put my second key spoke in, on the other side, just to make sure that my pattern doesn't get all messed up. I'm going to lace in quarters, so I'm going to put in the trailing spokes first. So like the ones that are the same as the key spoke. The heads would be sticking out in the hub flange. And now you're seeing here that I have a lot of nipples that are just junk, right? Now, if he's going to use this in the winter, I'm just going to use junk nipples. As much junk as I can get away with. So as I was saying there, I'm basically just going to put the trailing spokes in first. But the difference here is I'm going to completely lace the drive side first with the trailing spokes and the leading spokes, just to see how long my spokes are, and maybe they're too long, right? Because this rim here requires 290 millimeters for the drive side. What I got is 293, so we have like a 3 millimeter discrepancy there. Now, one thing the spoke calc never really tells you is if it's 290 millimeters all the way up to the flat of the nipple, which is kind of like inside of the groove where the nipple wrench would fit in, or if it's to the top of the nipple, so that's flush right at the top of the nipple, which is about a 2 millimeter difference. So were that the case, that it was the top, I would have like just 1 millimeter sticking out, which it's not really a big deal. So we'll just move it right along here. Like always, you just count your 3 holes and then insert into the 4th. So I got the drive side fully done, and it seems okay, but you're never gonna know until you get the entire wheel completely built, right? But for the most part here, like there's no spokes that are basically protruding through the rim, through the spoke holes, and that's a good thing at this point, right? So, like I said, I'm just gonna start on the non-drive side, and we'll see where we are when I'm done. Okay, so I got her done there, and for the most part, it looks pretty good. Now, it's still pretty loose to the touch, but I'm gonna have to put it on the stand and go from there. Okay, so I got it on the stand here, and it's pretty loose. I haven't really done a whole lot to it. One of the things that I found was that the nipples were, I don't know, it's like they were getting stuck a little too soon, and it was showing a lot of thread on the spokes. So I don't know, I got a bad feeling about it, but the only way to find out is to just keep going, right? I'm having a bit of trouble here, right? You can kind of see that other spoke, it wasn't threading in quite so well. Now, maybe it's just because there's a little too much slack in the spokes. I don't really know. But I'm always going to try. So the nipples are, they're threading on okay. Like they're covering the spoke threads, but I'm just checking the tension in the spokes, and like there's a lot of slack. There's a lot of slack. Now you can see here that it's kind of, it's not really that bad. Like it seems relatively true, but unfortunately, the spokes are still really, really loose. And, like I've done this before, and this is kind of this is the worst that I've ever seen of it. So just keep like checking this, but I don't know. So I just kept threading them on as far as I could go, and what's happening is the nipples are being pulled out from the threading, almost as if the threading is getting stripped in the nipples. So, that's not necessarily a good thing. The tension's not too bad, like it's getting there, but if the spokes are being pulled right out of the nipple threading, then that's going to cause a problem, right? Because there's going to be a whole lot more tension when someone's riding on this than if it's just sitting here on the stand, right? So more of the same problem happened. The spokes are just pulling right out of the threads of the nipples, and I'm not sure if it's just junk nipples, which is very possible because they're used, or if the nipples are actually just like stripping the threading on the spokes. So it's kind of happening a lot, and there's only so many spokes that I have to replace them. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to check the dish and just see, right? So when you're dishing, always start on the non-drive side, because there's going to be more dish on the dry side, right? So if you look here, you can see that there's space, right, on the dry side. And so, I don't know, there's a good, I don't know, an inch maybe? And I'm already kind of like breaking those spokes, right? Like pulling the spokes out of the nipples. So I don't know if I can actually get it to tension. So I'm just going to keep going and see, you know, like how far I can get. And there we go. Like it just happened again. So at this point here, I'm just not going to bother. I'm just going to call it quits and call it a fail. I guess that's a bust. I guess that's a bust. So what I've done here is I've shown you that you can kind of layer your projects, right? So not only am I trying to build a wheel for free, I'm also trying to use spokes that are used and nipples that are used and spokes that are the same length and too long. and too long. So if this were an experiment, which to a certain degree it is, right? I've been able to do this before, but like with all science, like it's never replicatable, right?
Replicable.
You can never guarantee that the results of whatever your science experiment is are going to be the same as, you know, the next set of variables and results, right? So I suppose that's something that most people don't understand about science and experiments, but you know, in this particular experiment, if you will, then it didn't work out. I've done it before and I did the same thing and it didn't work out. So what I have to do here is, you know, rebuild the wheel and start again. So I don't think I'm going to rebuild the wheel for you guys. I don't think, you know, like I have so many lacing videos and, you know, YouTube's littered with lacing videos that I think what I'm going to do is I'll just show you the tensioning and the truing that comes after. Okay, I hope you like this video. I hope it helps you out if, you know, you're trying to save money and, you know, increase your skill level and maybe learn to do those science experiments that you never wanted to do in school, like me. Okay, again, thanks a lot, and tune into the tensioning video that'll be coming up next.